Hey, Tay, are you a Trump supporter or are you banned?
I am.
You are? How old are you?
24.
Okay, all right. Let's have a conversation. Quickly before we hop into it, do you think I could get a W McKinsey from you?
No, sorry, you can't.
Wait, why not? Why can't I just get a quick W McKinsey? What about this? What about a W Emily?
Are we gonna have this conversation?
Yeah, we will have this conversation, but I want to go ahead and show some love to McKinsey for the $20 over on Venmo and Emily with a 25. Thank you so much, McKinsey and Emily. Thank you guys so much. McKinsey with the $20 says, back again. Thank you so much for what you do. I got my whole family watching you and making fun of the delusional MAGA supporters. McKinsey, that is awesome. Shout out to you and your family. Thank you for the $20. 200 McKinsey W's down below. Then Emily with a $25. Let's go to see what she has to say. She says, did you see what the government posted on the USDA website? Full-blown propaganda manipulation. Please talk about this. You know what? Actually, yeah. Let's talk about that. Thank you for the $25, Emily. You said that you're a Trump supporter today. The first question of the day is actually going to be talking about exactly what Emily just brought up there over on Venmo. How do you feel about the fact...
Well, I had a question for you really quickly.
Can I ask you a question first? Then I'll let you ask yours. Okay. How do you feel about the fact that, well, the government is shut down, the Department of Agriculture has run out of money to fund food stamps? By the way, the government's controlled by Republicans. So now, starting November 1st, food stamps are going to be cut off for 41 million Americans. And Donald Trump's response, right, when asked if he would allow emergency funding to be spent on those food stamps, very similar to how it's being spent on ICE, he said no. And when he was asked if he would reimburse states for picking up the bill until the government shutdown is over, he also said no, meaning he had the ability to keep these food stamps going and he declined to. And then he turned around, went on the USDA official government website, violated the Hatch Act, and then lied and said the reason why you won't be receiving these food stamps is because of Democrats, when in all reality, it is the Republicans who control the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the Supreme Court. It's the Republicans who own the shutdown, and then it's specifically him and his White House who refused to give emergency funding to food stamps, even though they could have. But then he turned around and blamed it all on the Democrats.
So what exactly was your question there?
The question is, what are your thoughts? How can you still support such a maniac who values attempting to make his political opponents look bad, overvaluing wanting to keep 41 million Americans fed?
You gonna let me respond?
Yeah, you just asked for clarification, so I wanted to give it to you.
Okay. So I want to first make it very clear that I do not align with every single thing that Donald Trump says, not in the slightest. So I want to make that very clear from the get-go. On behalf of that subject, I don't really have an opinion, I guess. I don't want to... I mean, I can give an overall answer as to that's very sad. I don't think that millions of Americans should lose their access to food stamps.
Okay. Right.
But so I don't know the context of everything, and I don't...
Donald Trump had 3 ways to prevent that, okay? Not causing or stopping the shutdown, okay? Giving emergency funding to SNAP benefits, or making a pledge and a promise to reimburse states once the shutdown is over. Donald Trump said no, no, no to all 3 ways, and then he said it was the Democrats' fault that these people won't be getting food stamps.
Okay, well, I don't think that people should be, their access to these food stamps should be cut off. Obviously, this feeds millions of Americans, their children, their families. No, I'm not in support or aligned with that.
Good. So now how do you feel about Donald Trump having 3 ways to prevent that, not preventing it willingly, then blaming it on the Democrats?
I think he should have.
Okay, so the fact that he didn't and then turn around and blame it on the Democrats kind of proves in my mind that he doesn't care about Americans. Okay, because what that shows is that he cares more about making the Democrats look bad than, as we already agreed, keeping 41 million Americans fed.
So what was your question?
Why do you support a president that places party lines over the health of 41 million low-income Americans?
I mean, I think we could go back and forth with multiple things that each president that has been in office has done that we don't personally agree with, right?
Could you give me something comparable to that scale of placing party lines over the health and well-being of 41 million Americans that Biden or Harris did?
Just certain things that Biden has said, I guess.
Well, I don't really think that any like amount of words,
Isn't that
right, would ever be the same as like materially harming the health, safety, and well-being of 41 million Americans. But I mean, try it, okay? What has Biden said that is worse than placing party lines, right, over the health, well-being, and safety of 41 million Americans and denying them access to food when he had 3 ways to allow them to have access to food?
I'm pretty sure he's spewed some racial rhetoric, right?
Just be more specific. Like we're just looking for something.
I'm not
that's
too keen on the
to
sources. This is
what
why
Donald
I
Trump
didn't
did.
want to really comment on that. I really just wanted an answer to the question I was going to bring up.
Okay, so just to make it clear,
Because I'm not prepared to debate certain topics or certain aspects of the entire Constitution. You know what I mean?
Okay, so just to make it clear, we can move on. You could ask your question. We could debate whatever you want to debate insofar as why you support Trump. But before we do move on, I want to make it clear, right? You have now, right, been able to understand how Donald Trump places owning the libs, right, and demeaning Democrats over the health, well-being, and safety of 41 million Americans. All right. And
Yes, and can you give me some sources
in response
to
to that,
look into this?
in response to that, you said, right, that, well, the Democrats have done similar things in power. I then asked you for an example of something that Biden or Harris did that was comparable to that, and you failed to give me one. All right. So there's where we are.
But I made
You can
that
now
very
ask
clear
me-
from the get-go, did I not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen. You can now ask me your question. You can now make your argument. But I think that is quite an insane fact to concede to and then still be a Trump supporter.
Okay. So yesterday on the live, I don't know if you remember debating James.
Was that a question?
Yeah. Do you remember
Yeah, I remember.
James
I remember
yesterday?
debating James just like I remember debating him the other 15 times.
Okay. Well, I wasn't aware. I don't watch it very often, but I had a question regarding something he had said, and it was after. Am I able to say DEATH on here?
You could say death, but remember,
Okay.
we're not here to discuss what James said on the live yesterday. We're here to discuss why you support Trump as president.
Right. Well, I'm getting there, I promise.
Okay, all right.
So the death of Charlie Kirk, yesterday he had said something about you having an emotional response.
We're
After that.
We're also not here to discuss my response to Charlie Kirk's passing, right? His execution. If you want to know about my response, right? I have around an hour video up on YouTube just discussing that. Right?
Will you
Well, once
please
again,
let
we're
me
here
get to my point? Will you please let me get to my point? You
Yeah, of
berate everybody else.
I'm
I'm just asking you to
genuinely
answer one question.
I'm genuinely not trying to berate you. I don't think I'm being rude. I don't think I'm being mean. I'm just simply asking you to stay on track. Now, if this is going
No,
somewhere,
you've
go
been
ahead.
good with me. You've been good with me, and I'll give you that. I've just seen some disrespectful things with other people. And I think that, how do I want to word this? If we're going to come together as a people, we need to be respectful on either side. And
I'm not gonna show respect for somebody that is so incredibly harmful to this country and everybody in it. I'm just not willing.
I
to do
get that. I get that, Dean. I totally get that. And I totally understand your stance there. I'm saying, do you feel like a lot of Trump supporters have been fed misinformation?
Yes.
And do you think that some of that's their fault and maybe some of it's not?
Yeah, I think that there's social pressures that are conducive towards people believing in misinformation, like the social environment that they're brought up by, and then which like would be on the fault of society. And then there's also a personal fault of like refusing to do like research into these things, even when presented with an opportunity to do so, or when presented with a fact. So far, I agree with everything that you're saying.
Okay, so when you come up here, I feel like rather than laughing at people, and this, I'm saying this as respectfully as I possibly can. I feel like we should make it to where we're educating people on why certain things we say are right or wrong, rather than being like, oh, you're just a moron, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, well,
I'm not saying that you've called
the fact of the matter is, right, I do genuinely try to educate individuals, and I also give I give the tone that I get back to whoever's giving it to me, right? And when I laugh at people and call them stupid idiots, it's not because they're coming up here and just believing in misinformation because of some social pressure than having their mind changed by me, but it's rather when we have, right, like cultish guests, right, such as the last guy who came up here and was just espousing obviously false false beliefs with no reason to find them to be the case. And then even when I present them with a counter argument to prove them wrong, right, and then I describe the harm that their misinformation is causing, they still believe in it, right? Yeah, I'm going to laugh at you and call you stupid idiot, because at that point, right, education is not what's going to change your mind, but hopefully a social pressure of calling you out for your bullshit will, okay? Right? And sometimes that is what is required for some people. But if you come up here with a nice, calm demeanor and you're here to just genuinely have a good faith discussion with me about why you support Trump, well, then you're going to get the tone that I'm giving you right now, which is a little bit more respectful and cordial, right? But once again, just to redirect us back to the topic, tell us why you support Trump as president. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Please take it away.
Okay. So first I wanted you to answer this question, and I promise it's going to get to the point. So I heard that you had come back online after the death of Charlie Kirk and apologized for the response that you had.
If you want to know precisely what I apologize for, go watch the video. We're not here to discuss that. We're here to talk about why you support Trump.
Well, I'm just asking if you condone political violence.
So you're just asking if I condone political violence? Do you mean condemn?
Do you condone political violence? Are you okay with political violence?
Oh, am I okay with violence? No, I'm not okay with violence. Now please tell us why you support Trump.
Okay. So I feel like a lot of, for example, have you seen what had went on in Portland, Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody dancing around in a frog costume, then getting pepper sprayed through their breathing hole by an ICE agent, yes. Also saw a Christian pastor being shot in the head with a pellet gun by an ICE agent. Yeah. Yes,
and that's one way to look at it. Right. I'm asking you to look at it from the perspective that, okay, first, I'm sure you probably don't agree with this, but would you call Antifa an ideology, or would you say that there is some truth that this is a group that has formed and is going around harming individuals?
You can't say that you disagree with political violence and then call people that are anti-fascist terrorists.
Okay. But when these people are committing terroristic acts, I just want to
make it clear. You're saying these people, you understand that those people, right, include me. I'm Antifa. You understand that those people include every person that fought in World War II. They're Antifa too. I'm Antifa. Are you Antifa? Are you anti-fascist?
Of course I'm an anti-fascist.
Wait, so you're Antifa. Are you a terrorist? Do you self-describe as a terrorist?
You cannot be that willfully ignorant, Dean. Not with as smart and educated as you are.
Come on, dude. He's saying that Antifa are now domestic terrorists. You just said that you're Antifa. Obviously, that would imply that they're according to Trump.
Let me think of an analogy for this one.
Okay.
If for some reason Trump supporters came up with a term that was also viewed as an ideology, but they were forming in groups and harming Democrats and federal agents, would it still just be an ideology to you?
I'm confused on the nature of your question, and I'm also confused on how this would relate to me labeling myself as Antifa. I'm going to ask you to be more clear, concise, and direct with your statements, because right now you're kind of muddying the waters and not making much sense.
Okay, so just because this group aligns with a term that can also be synonymous with an ideology doesn't mean that the group in and of itself does not exist.
I'm also really confused on what you just said. You're not making much sense. And Antifa is not a group. You understand that, right? And Antifa is like a political ideology. It's not a group. There's not like an Antifa HQ.
Would you agree with me that there is a group going around that labels themselves as Antifa that has committed political violence?
No, I disagree with you. I don't think that there's a group going around labeling themselves as Antifa that's committing political violence. I think that there's people.
Okay, well then I'm going to refer you to some sources where you can go look it up.
I think that there's people that label themselves as Antifa. I don't think that there's like an organized, chartered group on the large scale of people that label themselves as Antifa then commit political violence. You're espousing QAnon conspiracy theories.
This isn't a conspiracy theory, though. Yes, this is something I have witnessed with my own two eyes.
Yeah. So you saw like the Antifa HQ. You saw some Antifa soldiers come out and then like, kill Republicans.
They do. Not all necessarily, but hard.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wait, I have a question. The 72 violent rioters that raided our Capitol on January 6th spread their own shit. One moment, I'm speaking. Spread their own shit on the walls and then attacked cops like Officer Fanone that Donald Trump then called patriots and let out of jail 8 years before their term was over. Were they Antifa?
No, listen, just because someone commits political violence does not mean that they're labeled this or labeled that.
Can you please show me where like a Democratic leader has like called members of Antifa that were committing political violence patriots?
I can refer you to resources where they have not condemned the political violence that Antifa commits.
Okay, I'm curious. I want to see where this conversation leads. Do it.
Okay, Nick Shirley on YouTube. Go watch one of his YouTube videos.
So Nick Shirley is the name of somebody, not a source of like a Democrat failing to condemn violence.
Okay, I could give you the actual URL
that
if that's what you'd like.
The people that fail to condemn violence, right? That's your champion. That's this administration. Not only do they fail to condemn the violence on January 6th, they supported it and let them out of jail, and they also caused it.
I don't think that's very productive, Dean, because I already told you.
So if it's not productive to talk about how the president...
I was speaking here.
I understand that you're speaking and I'm interrupting, unfortunately, for the productivity of this conversation. If it's not productive to discuss how the president that you champion and support running our country today, right, labeled, right, like in my mind, the true domestic terrorists that tried to insurrect our capital, spread shit on the walls, tried to kill our congressmen and women, tear gas them and beat and kill cops as patriots and let them out of jail, well, then what is the productivity in acting as if Antifa is some organized organization that's actively committing political violence? I think what this tells me is that you value your anti-intellectualism and your QAnon conspiracy theories about what the nature of the left is and what it means to be Antifa and the supposed violence that they cause over the reality of the actual violence that we know exists and the actual response to that violence that we have seen from the White House very clearly and transparently being that not only do they not condemn it, but they actually condone and appreciate, applaud, and award it by letting them out of jail and labeling them as patriots.
Okay, I don't understand how you're being productive by coming at me with something like that when I just clearly told you that I do not condone that type of behavior.
Okay,
but I'm not being what you would call rightist and only condemning the left. I'm condemning both parties.
Well, the thing is I'll only condemn something that I know exists, and I don't know that an organized, chartered, large spread group labeled Antifa.
Okay, well, do you have eyes and can you see people that have committed the acts? You're telling me you've never saw someone that calls themselves a part of Antifa commit political violence. You've never seen that.
Well, I mean, I don't think I have.
Yes, you have.
I don't think I have, but here's what I'll say. I wouldn't doubt it that somebody that has labeled themselves as Antifa has done something politically violent. Like, I'm just like sure because of the sheer amount of Americans in this country that somebody at one point has done that.
It's not just one person, though, Dean. This is multiple people.
Well, listen, even like speculatively, because there's like over 350 million Americans, right, that there's been multiple instances of people labeling themselves as Antifa than doing political violence. Like, listen, I wouldn't be able to like point towards any direct sources, right, to indicate that this has occurred. But I could like speculate that it has, right, just because of the sheer numbers of how many Americans there are. And?
Right, but I think it's very important to look at both sides. I mean, if
so where are we going with this, and how does this play into why you support the 34 count felon adjudicated rapist as president? Because remember, that's a topic
because of how far some of the left has gone. But I mean, if I don't think that the left actually debate.
I don't think that the left has gone further left. I think that the right has gone further right. You understand that both Bush and Reagan, right, are now liberals. You understand that, right? That now Bush and Reagan have many beliefs that are now defined as on the left because of how far right MAGA has gone. This morning, I wouldn't say that they're liberals. They have a lot of beliefs that now align with the left because of how far right MAGA has gone. This morning, okay, I was watching the primary debates for the presidency in I don't know, it was the 90s, 2000s, whenever Reagan was running for re-election. I'm not too good on my history there. That's my fault. And they were asked about immigration and undocumented immigrants in this country. Bush took the mic and he was like, listen, right, I think that there are many undocumented immigrants that are in this country that are hardworking families that just want to be able to provide for themselves and make this country better, right? And they're existing in this country, because they broke the law and coming in. But I don't think that means that they should be treated any differently from their neighbor, right? And their children should be allowed a free education, K through 12, and they should have all those same rights and dignity and respects that their neighbors do. 1980s, thank you guys for correcting me. And then Reagan hopped in and was like, I actually agree with everything Bush just said, and I actually think that we should give them amnesty and make them president. Make them residents or citizens. Okay? When you hear somebody saying that today, right, that's going to be coming from the mouth of a leftist or a liberal. When you heard somebody saying that in the 80s, it was coming from the mouth of one of the worst Republican presidents we have had in the last 50 years. Okay? So what does that tell you about how much further right the MAGA movement has pushed the Republican Party in modern American history?
Well, I'm sure you could look at it both ways and argue that some people that leaned more towards the left now lean more towards the right.
Yeah, give me an example of like a Democratic president in the last 50 years that we now look at as somebody who's like so far obviously like a Republican.
Well, that's why I came up to ask my question, because
so you can't give me an example, dude. Okay,
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay, so then name a Democratic president.
You keep cutting me off.
Name a Democratic president that we now look at as like an obvious Republican today.
I can't, and this is what I'm telling you, is that I was not able to come up here and debate these topics with you because I have not done not even close to enough research on them. Okay. Well, I am still on my political journey, but if you want a topic to debate that I feel ready to debate, we could do abortion.
Yeah, and by the way, I just want to clarify there on something that I said. I said that Reagan is now considered a liberal. That's not true. That's not true at all. I just want to be extra clear that what I meant to say is that now Reagan held on to some beliefs then that are now viewed as widely adopted, right, liberal beliefs. So I want to be able to clarify on that point because I misspoke earlier. So yeah, it seems like you came up here, right, without much information and without being willing to come up here and have a conversation with me. Now you said that you wanted to talk about abortion. Okay, so are you pro-life?
Yes.
Okay, even in circumstances of rape?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that, my friend. Let's go ahead and have that conversation. Before we do, let me go ahead and thank a couple people. Angel, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo, who says, identifying as Antifa but supporting this administration as having lukewarm moral values. You are not Antifa. You are nothing more than an accomplice that would tell Adolf where Anne Frank was hiding. Thank you for the $10, Angel. I really appreciate you so much for the love. Let's go ahead and thank a handful of others, too. If you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, found in the link tree in my bio over on TikTok, as well as in the pinned message of the YouTube stream, as well as Rachel. Thank you so much for the $4.44 over on Venmo. Appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you so much. Saying, I used to cringe at your debates. Now I'm genuinely impressed. Keep it up. Thank you, Rachel. As well as Devin. Thank you for the $5. Thank you so much for the love, Devin. Madison, thank you for the $3. And Emily, thank you so much for the $5. And then, Christopher, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo, who says, I'm from Ohio. Just cooked my friend, and I got him to stray from MAGA to center at least using your debate style. You're the fucking goat. Dude, good to see you again, Christopher. I know that you were hanging out with us yesterday. Good to hear that you're finally cooking MAGA. Let's show some love to Christopher down below in that comment section for the $20. And then let's get 500 Dan W's. Holy fucking shit, Dan. Thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Dan, all the love in the world to you. That is literally so kind. Thank you so much. That is so much fucking money. Holy shit. Dan with the $50 says, thank you for all that you do. Dan, you're the fucking goat. Thank you so much for your kindness. Let's show some Dan love. See what I did there? To Dan down below in that chat. Thank you so much for the love. All the love to Chris, Dan, and all the other donors. I'd also like to show some love to some of the donors over on PayPal, like Matthew with the $10, who says, day 7 of donating to you. Love your streams. Keep it up. Matthew, good to see you again today. Thank you for the $10. As well as Jessica and Jennifer, thank you so much for the $5. And Anthony, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Anthony. You are fucking awesome. Show some love to Anthony down below in the comment section. Let's see. Have you ever watched Tashika Ann debate MAGA on TikTok? If there's a moment where the guest is espousing disgusting beliefs, she boots them immediately. I love how you dig into their reasoning, but I also suspect most fans would also like you to support protecting their peace a little bit more if you want. Tashika Ann is a disgusting person herself. She called for my public execution and hanging, and not even a week ago on TikTok Live, she said that the individuals being deported by the Trump administrations are all dumb Mexicans that support him. Not to mention Victoria, thank you so much for the $5 over on PayPal. Appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you guys so much. We are all caught up. So I'm actually going to go and pass the mic off to you now. You said that you think that victims of grape should be, that are impregnated by the grape, should be denied access to abortion per your moral prescriptions. Here's my question. Okay.
That wasn't my exact words. I don't ever remember uttering that phrase, but okay, go ahead.
I asked you if rape victims should be allowed to access abortion, and you said no.
So I could also turn that around and be like, should we pretty much solve an evil by committing an evil act?
Well, the thing is I don't think that a victim of rape accessing abortion is evil. But just to clarify there, when I said that you don't think that if a woman is raped and impregnated, she should be able to access abortion, was it accurate or inaccurate?
Do you think murder's an evil act?
Yes, I think that murder's an evil act. I just don't think that abortion is murder. Now, can you answer my question?
I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
So I said that you think victims of rape, right, women that are raped and then impregnated by that rape, should be denied access to abortion. And then you said, those weren't my words, I don't remember saying that. And then I said, well...
Because I didn't say that word for word, but go ahead.
And then I said, well, you did say that victims of rape shouldn't be able to access abortion, right? Can you answer that?
I don't think that this is kind of what you're doing. You're trying to make me sound like an evil individual, and I'm nowhere near. I love everybody, and I think that once life begins, as every biologist agrees, life begins at conception, and the intentional taking of a life is murder. I don't think that we should solve such a heinous, disgusting act by murdering an individual.
Okay, all right, well, sounds good. So if you think that it's quote-unquote evil, and it makes you look quote-unquote evil, when I say that you believe victims or women that are raped and then impregnated because of that rape should be denied access to abortion, that's something that you believe, you think that statement is evil, then I've already won the debate.
No, because it's the way you're perpetuating it and like trying to portray me as some type of sick, twisted individual.
Yeah, if you think it's sick and twisted,
I'm saying
right?
that's...
If you think it's sick and twisted to think that if a woman is raped and impregnated, she should be denied access to abortion, right? Well, then, like I already said, I'll say it again. I've already won the debate. All right, I'm glad that we agree. I'm glad that we agree denying victims of rape access. We don't,
and you're not going to do this. You're not going to use me.
So we don't agree that denying victims of rape access to abortion is sick, twisted, and evil. So then why did you say that it was?
It's the way that you're trying to make it seem. It's not what it is.
What did I say that was wrong? Here, let me just repeat what I said, and then you tell me exactly which...
this is not productive, Dean.
Tay, this is the most productive way to go about this dialogue. I'm going to repeat what I said, and then you're going to tell me, like, which
It's the most productive way for you to get your views.
Okay. Well, the way that is not productive for us to have this conversation is for you to interrupt me. All right?
You've interrupted me multiple times.
Yeah, I have. I think that interruptions are always unproductive. I think they can sometimes be productive. I think maybe some of the times I've interrupted you have been productive.
If it's you interrupting me, right? That's when it's productive?
Well, I think in many scenarios, yes. But I don't think that you're interrupting me in similar senses when I'm like rattling on or repeating something or saying something irrelevant. Now, I'm just quickly going to repeat what I said.
Which I've done. I've not done any of that, so go ahead.
I'm going to repeat what I said, and I just want you to tell me what precisely in this statement is a misrepresentation of your view, okay? Is that fair?
I thought you just said we shouldn't be repeating things we've said over and over. And now you're going to repeat again of why I'm such a horrible person because it's the way in the context you are portraying my character.
Okay, well, this one thing
it's not just
this one thing is necessary to repeat.
Access to abortions due to grape.
So I think that this is necessary to repeat so I can understand exactly like what I'm saying that is a misrepresentation of what you believe. Okay, so I'm going to repeat it. Okay, I said...
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Okay, Tay, why won't you just let me repeat it?
Because I know what you're doing here, and you're trying to portray me as an evil individual.
All right, Tay. And then I'm just going to drop that point. I mean, all that I was going to say was, hey, so I said that you think that if a woman is raped and impregnated, she should be denied access to abortion. Then I was going to ask you what exactly did I say in that statement that you think is false, not an adequate representation of your view. And that was going to be it, right? And seemingly you don't want to have that conversation with me. I don't know why. You're kind of embarrassing yourself.
Okay, well then, I don't know what to tell you, Dean.
You could tell me what exactly, the way in which I represented your view that was false. Like, let's just go through it.
I would like you to let
just to clarify, if a woman is raped and impregnated, should she be able to go to a Planned Parenthood and abort that fetus? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, then I don't understand how I misrepresented your view.
Because, so I already clarified this, so there's no reason to repeat it, right?
Can you clarify it again? Because I don't think I understand. You should repeat it for me. Obviously, I'm like, just not understanding you. You're significantly more intelligent.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, listen, we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere.
Because you're not telling me how I misrepresented your view.
Do you believe that life begins at conception?
Yeah, I do believe that life begins at conception. Now, how did I misrepresent your view?
Now, what is the definition of murder?
The murder would be the unjust termination of a human life.
Okay. So can we agree that abortion is murder?
No, because I don't think it's unjust.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Why do you believe it's unjust or is not unjust?
Because I don't think that there's any reason why it would be. Like for a victim of rape, for instance, they were forced into engaging in sex, they were forced into pregnancy, then they were forced into providing their bodily resources without their consent nor their will to that fetus to sustain the life of the fetus. What obligation do they have to continue to be forced into providing those bodily resources to sustain the life of the fetus?
That's my point, because I don't think that by taking the innocent life of a human being, that's going to solve the trauma that this woman has went through.
Okay, so I don't think that anybody.
There's plenty.
I think that we can all agree that if a victim of rape gets an abortion, it won't reverse the rape. Okay, right? But the reason why I think that a rape victim should be able to get access to abortion is not because it will reverse the rape, but is rather because that victim of rape has no obligation to provide that fetus domicile in her uterus, nor her bodily resources to keep it alive. Can you tell me what that obligation would be? Why does she have that obligation?
Because it's an innocent human life. That is also half of her DNA.
Oh, wow. All right. So now you're just saying, well, she has that obligation to keep it alive because it's a human life. I don't think that's enough to build an obligation. Like, imagine this hypothetical, okay? Right?
Do you believe that we should protect children that... Okay, so... All right.
Can I ask you a question?
Let me finish mine. Are you aware of how people can drop off babies at hospitals? Do you think we have an obligation to take care of those children?
Yeah, there'd be a social construct, thereby generate an obligation that if a baby is dropped off at a hospital, that therefore the hospital has to take care of that baby, because that is the message that the hospital is promoting to the individual dropping it off. Okay, that is an implicit social construct that would work in the same way that when you walk into a restaurant, you sit down at the table and you order dinner, that you have an implicit social contract to then pay for that food once you're done eating, because it's the expectation of the services provided.
Okay, so let's use a different context here. What if I'm going to have to use a hypothetical because of today's society.
Dude, you fucking suck. You're so weird.
What?
Yeah, you're weird, bro. Like saying that you have to think,
I'll end the conversation
rationally.
here because I'm not going to deal with the disrespect.
Okay,
you use your hypotheticals all the time, Dean. You use them all the time, but as soon as a Republican introduces
it was the comment
they're
because of today's society.
Wrong.
It was the comment because of today's society. Go ahead and run your hypothetical. I apologize for saying that you're weird.
That wasn't because of... that's not what I meant, though. I just meant because of the social construct that we have.
Okay.
I didn't mean it because...
I just asked you a question.
So, do you think it would be wrong if hypothetically... there's like 3 people on the earth and someone hands me a baby and it didn't take any birthing process to get this child out. It's just a baby and somehow it's my DNA. Do you think it would be wrong to take that child's life?
So if somebody just hands you a newborn and then you stab it in the chest with a knife, would that be wrong?
Yes.
Yes, it's wrong to kill newborns by stabbing them in the chest, yes.
Okay, so why isn't it...
Jeez.
It's not making any sense to me why you don't get what I'm saying.
Wait, I just answered your question. That means I'm obviously understanding what you're asking of me in order
it was the laughing under your breath or whatever you just did that I don't understand what you're not doing.
I laughed under my breath because it's obviously wrong to stab a newborn to death.
Right, and it's wrong to take a human life no matter how that child got there.
No, I don't think it's always wrong to take a human life. I think that there's many scenarios where we're completely okay with it, morally and socially speaking. A really good example of this would be brain dead patients. Okay, doctors take the lives of brain dead patients when they take them off of life support. We don't deem that as wrong. A woman with an IUD, that IUD can kill zygotes, unicellular human organisms. We don't view that as murder. I think that these examples and more refute the idea that it is our DNA and that makes us morally valuable, or it is our species that makes us morally valuable. And if it's not our DNA nor our species that makes us morally valuable, then what trait could it possibly be? I would say that trait would be a level of subjective experiences and or consciousness that makes us morally valuable. That is what makes us significant, okay? And a fetus doesn't have the ability to deploy any level of subjective experiences until the 20 to 24 week part. Yeah, but they will. The same way when I was 15, I would have been 21 in the future. Does that mean I should get the right to buy alcohol now? No, I'd have to actually wait to be 21 first. The same way I think that a fetus has to actually wait to be 20 through 24 weeks old first until they gain right to life or moral value, predicated on the fact that is when that fetus gains the ability to deploy any level of subjective experiences.
But that's completely and utterly not the same, because if I told you that my 18-month-old child right now cannot do certain things that perhaps a 5-year-old child can do, does that make him less valuable? Because he can't have the same subjective experience as a 5-year-old?
No, because I don't think that value would be like given to a human predicated on their gradual level of subjective experiences, but rather on the presence of the mind and the ability to deploy them.
I think what I'm trying to ask you here is, why is it okay to end the life of... So I have to understand this first.
I'm being so kind to this guest. I'm just rolling with the shots. See, like, usually I like to try to guide the conversation so we could like have a little bit more of a cohesive, proper conversation. I'm just totally giving that the ability to the guest right now, and they're fucking fumbling it. But go ahead.
Okay, then I'll get off of here, Dean, because I'm not going to deal with the disrespect.
Ma'am, I mean, listen.
I don't think it's very productive.
Ma'am, if you can't deal with the facts, then feel free to run away. I mean,
I'm not running away. I just don't tolerate someone that claims to be so against sexists and misogynistic men. But you're doing this exact same thing to me right now, being a male, speaking over a female, acting like just because you do this every single day that... Yeah. You're so much smarter than I am, and that you can pretty much be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form you see fit. Okay. And I'm just not going to deal with it, especially not to make you money.
So, I'm not ridiculing you because you're a woman, right? I'm ridiculing you because you think that victims of rape should be forced into 9 months of bodily mutilation and torture, both physically and mentally speaking, with no good reason whatsoever. And when
do you not agree that they're going to suffer for the rest of their life? Do you understand what these women go through?
Thank you so much for interrupting me. What's your point that you'd like to make?
Are these women not going to struggle with this for the rest of their life?
So, yeah, victims of rape can struggle with that for the rest of their lives. What does this change about my argument insofar as why I think that they should be able to access abortion?
These women are going to inherently struggle for the rest of their life and go through mental illness. And there are studies that you can research that show that women who have abortions end up having regret later in the future, and depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm. So there's a very low level of regret
versus women who didn't.
There's a low level of regret associated with getting abortions. Not many women experience it, but a low level does. The most regretted elective surgery typically is, believe it or not, hip surgery. 28% of individuals that get elective hip surgery end up regretting it and then having an onset post-operative depression inside of their life. So, I mean, if you think that we should ban abortion because of a low level of regret and or onset of depression because of it, does this mean that you also think that we should ban elective hip surgery?
Elective hip surgery is not taking the life of an individual.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with the regret rate, and in your mind only has to do with the taking the life of the fetus.
And that was
but I've already given you a reason why taking the
way.
life of the fetus. No, it's not. 28% of individuals that get hip surgeries end up having depression because of it. That's a fact.
No, I'm not talking about the hip surgery. I'm talking about the statement you made about women not having regret, or it's such a low level. No, it's extremely and extraordinarily high, actually.
What is it? No fucking clue. No
I'll look it up.
Okay.
Look it up, and I will show you right now. And
wait. If you knew that it was extraordinarily high, wouldn't that like imply that you've already looked it up?
Because I've seen it before. I've done this probably in freaking high school. I've written countless papers on abortion.
Okay. Yeah. Feel free to go look it up.
Okay.
Awesome. While she's looking that up super duper quickly, John, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Thank you for the love, John. Let's get 500 John W's down below in that chat. That is Jon. John with a $50 says, being pro-life, especially in instances of rape, just means that you see women as nothing more than incubators. The fact that this woman holds this belief is just mind-boggling. Glad I found your streams and your clips. Well, John, I absolutely agree with you. I legitimately think that holding to the belief that women who are raped should be denied access to abortion is one of the most like morally depraved like things that Americans think today. It is is just so sick. It is so dark. It is so twisted. Okay, listen here. There's absolutely no obligation or duty of care that a victim of rape would ever conceivably have to allow her bodily resources to sustain the life of the fetus. Okay, this is like the hypothetical that I employ often is you spend your money on food and somebody breaks into your house in the middle of the night to take half of it away from you. They're going to do this for 9 months. Can you lock your front door at night and prevent them from stealing your food, even if they die from starvation as a result? The answer is yes, because you have no obligation to provide them your resources, even if they die. And I view that fact to also be true for women as it relates to pregnancy and fetuses, especially in the circumstance of a woman that was raped. There's no argument that an obligation could ever possibly exist. So John, you're fucking on the facts. Let's show some love to John down below in that chat for the $50. While she's still looking for that source, I also want y'all to show some love to Peter for the $100 donation over on Venmo. Holy fucking shit. Let's get 500 John W's. Let's also get 1,000 Peter W's. Saying if Tay's 16-year-old daughter was raped and got pregnant, is she going to force her daughter to have that baby? Well, that's a question I'm going to have to ask Tay when she comes back. But seriously, Peter, it's good to see you again, my man. Thank you so much for your kindness. $100 is a shit ton of money, dude. Show some fucking love to John and Peter. Thank you so much. As well as Charlie. Thank you for the $25 over on Venmo who says, fuck Steve. Thank you for the love, Charlie. Show some love to Charlie. And then Bree with the $10 and Zuan with the 4. Thank you so much. And Colton, thank you so much for the $10. Colton, I'm going to keep your message to myself. I bet you could understand why, but thank you so much for your kindness. And then Mr. Jason, thank you so much for the $51 on Venmo. Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much, man. Jason with the 50 says, thank you for doing all that you do to defend the LGBTQ plus IA community. We're about to lose marriage rates and my heart is breaking. Yeah, man, I'm going to be talking a lot about that come November 7th. You're going to be hearing a lot about that from me. I'm just waiting to see, what the expected outcome is going to look like and how they inevitably rule. But that is just I'm so disappointed that SCOTUS is even possibly adjudicating that. Thank you for the $51, Jason. And then Reese, thank you so much for the $15. Maddie, Mama Peach, thank you so much for the $20. And yes, I'll check Discord. Thank you so much, Mama Peach. Show some love to Mama Peach for the $20. As well as, let's see here, Lars, thank you so much for the $5, and Catherine with 5. You guys are awesome. We are all caught up over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, y'all. As well as over on Venmo, Hunter, thank you so much for the $50 over on PayPal. Let's show some love to Hunter down below, saying, love what you do, and would love to pay you regularly for coaching through text on how to be a good debater. Well, I don't offer those services currently, but Hunter, thank you so much for the $50. Appreciate that, man. That is very kind of you. As well as Anthony, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. Anna, thank you so much for the $25 on PayPal. Show some love to Anna. Anna says, thank you for always standing up for victims of rape / sexual assault. You make a difference. Listen, I honestly think that we are making a difference here. Like right now, we have over 20,000 people tuned into the live, right? Listening to like really good reason why we shouldn't ban rape victims' access to abortion. I think that's meaningful. Thank you so much for the $25, Anna. And then Kareem, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Kareem, saying keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Kareem. Show some love to Kareem. And then Jack, thank you for the 5. Haley, thank you for the 10. Tegan and Matthew with a 5, and Diana with a 5. Appreciate you guys so much for the love. We are all caught up at this point. It has now been maybe around a minute since we last spoke to this guest, Miss Tay. Miss Tay, were you able to find a source for your claim? Thank you guys. Show some love to all of our donors down below. Seriously, I really appreciate that.
Yes, so if you go to goodhealthpsych.com, it says that 81% of women who have abortions are most likely to have mental health issues after doing so. 37% are most likely to have 81. Depression. 81% of women who have abortions are most likely to deal with mental health issues after doing so. This is from goodhealthpsych.com.
Is this okay? So this used to come up a lot in abortion debates, and I'm pretty sure if I'm thinking of the right study here, right, it was done by anonymously asking women in a church if they have gotten an abortion before. How do they feel about it now? And it was done on like 20 people. We don't even know if they were women.
So you're going by what you think. If this is the one that I thought of that I saw way back when, how are you going to claim that to be true? You have no factual information about that statement.
You're not letting me finish speaking here.
Because you're making a false claim.
You haven't even finished my claim.
I haven't finished your claim?
No, I said I haven't finished my claim. Just hold on. Hold your horses. Let me finish talking. We could do this a little bit more casual and chill, okay? It's okay. Just calm down, okay. All right? Thank you. All right, so anyways, Now to go back to what I was saying, right? So, I mean, that was, something that came up a lot way back when these abortion debates were super prevalent. I wonder if this is what the guest is sourcing. So who did you say the publisher was?
I didn't give you a publisher. I just gave you the actual URL.
Okay.
Well, the website, rather.
So Good Health Psychology?
It's just goodhealthpsych.com.
Okay, Good Health Psych. And then where on Good Health Psych's website can I find this publishment?
Let me see. So this is under the article of identifying and managing depression after abortion.
Identifying and managing depression after abortion. Identifying and managing depression after abortion. Okay. Well, no fucking joke. No troll. No fucking troll. I clicked on their website and it said error establishing a database connection. Let's see if I just reload the page if it'll pop up. God. No, it's just not even popping up. Wait, I gotta screenshot this because you're gonna think that I'm trolling here.
I'm not. I know that happens.
You're gonna think that I'm trolling here. All right, let me screenshot it.
I'm not. No, I believe you.
Wait. Let me just pull this up real quick. Look at this. Okay, so now I got to see if this is a local error or like a global error. I got to see if this is an issue with like my connection to the website or an issue with the servers that the website is being ran on. Can we have like a couple people watching like go and like look this up on your end on your computer?
They're in the chat.
So mine does it too. It did it to me. Okay, there's multiple. Mine does it too. I've checked. This happened to mine. I got it too. Mine is doing it. We did. Mine does. It did it to mine too. Okay, guess what? You actually picked the wrong fucking person to try to make this point to, because before I started doing these debates full time, I was a professional full stack web developer. So because more people than just myself are getting this issue saying error establishing a database connection, what this means is that it's not a local issue with my computer, but rather a global issue with the servers running this website. And it's not like the servers stopped running this website, right? The moment you told me what the source was to look at it, that means that the site is down. So you just told me that you went on pause and you tried to find this source. You lied out of your goddamn ass.
I did not.
Because this site
what are
is
you
down.
Talking about? Look at all the people in the chat confirming that they saw. Actually, they were correcting me because they saw that it said 34%. There's no need for me to come up here and lie, Dean. And you're not going to perpetuate me as some type of liar.
I'm so sorry, but just the evidence that you're lying is the fact that the website was.
I am not lying whatsoever. I will send you a DM of the screenshot.
Okay. All right. Well. Okay. Maybe.
I don't think that's very productive to call me a liar. I have the freaking article.
Maybe. How about this? I'm going to extend you an olive branch here. Okay. It is very possible, as an alternative as well, that maybe just when you said that, a bunch of people went to it and they just can't handle that traffic because this is some small blog and it went down because of that traffic. Okay. All right. I will extend that to you. I'm going to try to be good faith here. All right. I'm still not getting it, though, so you're going to have to find another source.
I can go find you another source.
Perfect.
I can find you plenty of sources.
Perfect. Okay. You know what? I'll trust her. Maybe it's just an issue of a bunch of people going to it at once and them just not having the bandwidth to handle that like level of that level of traffic. Well, I'll be nice. I'll give it to her. And I also just don't understand. So while she's looking for the source, I just kind of want to go over my thoughts on this. So like point number one, there's like a lot of elective procedures that have like a very high regret and or post-operative depression rate, like very high. Like I said, hip surgery, it's near 30, right? Now, even if it was the case that abortion had a high regret and or depression onset rate following it, well, point number one, right? Birth has a higher depression rate following it. That's why we literally have the word, what is it? What is it called? Like, what is the very specific phrase / word to refer to depression following birth? I want to say postmortem, but I don't know if that's right. Is it postmortem depression? I don't know. That just doesn't sound right. PPD. PPD. Is that it? Postpartum. There we go. Okay, I was going to say postmortem? No. Postpartum depression, right? So many women experience depression following birth, okay, that we literally have a phrase for it, postpartum depression, all right? And it is a fact that yes, okay, maybe some women will experience regret and or depression following an abortion, but an astronomically higher amount of women would experience that following birth, so much so that we literally have a phrase to refer to it as PPD. Does this mean that the guest therefore also thinks that birth should be banned? Taylor?
No, because I don't think that you should.
So then you don't think that we should ban things based upon a perceived potential outcome
So there's no
of a
reason
level
for
of
me to
depression.
find these sources for you, because whether I do or not, or whether you claim that I'm lying and making it up or not, you're going to come back with, oh, well, we have depression after birth, and that is why it's okay to have an abortion, because everybody gets depressed after certain things, procedures.
Well, I mean, actually, yeah, that would be a logical issue within your perspective. You can't argue that abortion should be banned because of some level of depression onset by it following the fact, but then argue in the same breath that other things such as birth, elective surgery, including hip surgery, so on and so forth, shouldn't be banned.
You can go to
even though they have a higher...
UCSF.edu, it's 44%.
Tay, don't interrupt me. That is the last time I'm going to allow you to interrupt me. You've been interrupting me every single time I've been speaking, and I want that to stop.
You've done the same thing to me.
I don't believe I have, Tay, but could you please let me finish speaking now?
You can rewatch the live and
okay,
you can see that you have.
Could you just stop it? Could you just let me finish my statement? Thank you. I really appreciate it, Tay. So anyways, yes, no, it is actually contradictory to say that this thing, abortion, should be banned because of some level of regret and or depression onset by that abortion, but then in the same breath argue that other things with higher levels of onset depression following it occurring shouldn't be banned, such as birth or elective surgeries, including hip surgeries. And by the way, right, while you were looking for your source, I actually found one myself. Okay, so this is coming from the Journal of the American Medical Association. The American Medical Association is the most reputable medical institution in this country, okay? So 2 years post-abortion, 72% of 418 women were satisfied with their decision. 306 of them, or 69% of them, said that they would have the abortion again, and 315 of them said that they reported more benefit than harm from their abortion, all right? So, I mean, not only was I able to logically dispute your argument because you're not willing to argue that other things that also onset depression at higher levels should be banned, but also seemingly, right, according to the American Medical Association, right, this is something that we only see in a minority of cases. And shout out to you, Marilyn.
Okay, well then I can come back and say...
Oh, and then Marilyn also, sorry, one more point here. Marilyn just sent $20 over on YouTube. Thank you for the love, Marilyn. Marilyn says, I'm a labor and delivery nurse. It's because of a hormonal shift. Mental health history plays a role too. You know, that's actually a good point, okay, right? Like you have particular hormones that are change inside of your physiology during pregnancy, right? And the same way when you give birth, those hormones reverse back. The same thing would occur with a miscarriage and or an abortion. Oh my God, get fucking cooked. Thank you so much for the $20, Marilyn. Oh, and she's gone. Taylor hit the road running. We're going to move on to the next guest. Womp womp. Can't hang. Goodbye, Taylor. Thank you so much for the $20, Marilyn.